The end of the iRacing season comes so close, doesn't it? It's week 10 out of the magic 13 in the winter of 2024, and we just have a few more weeks on the TCR schedule left to go. This is round 10 of the TCR SOF Plus series on iRacing, where at the beginning of every week, some of the greatest Eastern American TCR drivers spend some time to get used to the track, and it is an unusual one this week as we're at the Red Bull Ring, known for the Australian and Styrian Grand Prix. It's got a few corners, quite a few long straights, a little bit unsuited to these sorts of cars, but if there's any drivers that can make it exciting around here, it is this field as they approach the beginning of their qualifying session on the track. And we get ready for another lovely 40-minute TCR extravaganza. Coming at you from Aeon Esports, I'm Howie Burroughs, and I'm also joined here by Jim Cunningham, as of last week, probably without the technical hiccups. How's you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great, Howie, man. I'm excited to be here. It's good to be in the Austrian countryside here at the Red Bull Ring, and especially without pouring down rain like we had last week. So I'm looking forward to this one, and let's have no technical hiccups in the last 3 minutes of this race.
Well, the presence of rain is a presence of controversy among some of the TCR players this week. But I'll explain that in a minute, because it's got a little bit unusual on the schedule this week. They've done one of the controversial things as they try and cross over their even week schedule. So it is the Red Bull Ring. I do love this track in a lot of places. It's a great F1 track. It's sort of one of those that sits under the radar and people don't realise it's really good. And it's a strange one though for these sorts of cars, because these aren't really power cars, and yet they're being asked to make these really long straights. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is what we call the IMPC Compromise Week. IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, of course, the bi-weekly multi-class endurance event that has to sort of share the track with GT4s, and I think we have one of those here. But hey, a track for TCR. Some people say every track makes a good TCR track. There are some people that refuse to hate one, and these cars certainly can bring good racing anyway. We've seen some short track action. Now we're going to see some big, wide, long track action.
Well, you know, with the way these cars are powered, they're probably going to stay pretty close. At least the top drivers should run close together. And this course does have some interesting turns, some downhill turns that can kind of camber away from you. And it'll be interesting to see. These cars should handle that really well with the front wheel drive. Do you know if we have an Audi in the field this week? Because they tend to be the most powerful. They tend to have the best horsepower out of these. So
Evan Adams has brought out Old Reliable. Didn't quite see him in practice. I hope he hits the field for the race, and I hope, and I'm going to say this, and it's like my commentator's curse, because I come with a curse built in. I hope it doesn't send him into the wall. I want to leave a race and have said to Evan, nice one there. And I love him, and yet I seem to see heartbreak every single time. It's just some quite long qualifying laps, so we're just on board with JB the J, who set the first one. Behind him, Tanner Gruber a few seconds behind, and Nathan Lee very, very close as we'll take a little look at Bryce Allen over here. These Hyundais, becoming familiar ones in the field. Now, as we see Bryce cross over the line, it's worth noting that I like to call this track the off-track ring, because if there's one track that is more brutal than any other in iRacing when it comes to off-tracks, it's the Red Bull Ring. And, well, maybe not even brutal in iRacing, to be honest, because in general, in F1, it's a historically brutal track. It's the one where, every single driver just goes off the track 50 times, and they've had to employ, AI algorithms in order to see whether you've gone over the line. iRacing's eternal watchful eye always knows, and may I remind you, this series gives you a point penalty for going 10x. Oh boy, we unfortunately can't count those, but we're going to find out at the end of the race if anyone has been naughty.
Well, I tell you, of course, last week we had several off tracks because of the wet weather and stuff. But this track, there's going to be some of that, because the one thing you have to do here is you have to keep these cars wound up on this big track. So they're going to be running wide right out to the ragged edge, just keeping those RPMs up and keeping those cars wound up. So we're probably going to see some off tracks, and and like I said, I hope Evan does get that Audi in here, because I believe that's the most powerful of the. There he is, right there.
We spotted another one. No, we spotted another. It's not a league regular. It's Patrick Rich. Not a name I've seen in the races I broadcast, although we did jump in about halfway through. I'm just trying to do my. No, he is brand new. Patrick Rich is brand new to this, and that car is absolutely full of memes. Is just the word I'll say.
It is. It is a meme car. But,
now.
Well, that's good. These Audis should be fast here. They do have a little extra horsepower, and I don't know if this is right or not, but I thought I read somewhere that the Audi was a rear-wheel drive car in this series. But is that incorrect, or am I right about that, or
I don't think so? For sure? But I don't think so. But it might have been there might have been something in its history that has made it like rear-wheel drive in the past or something. I believe you have to be front-wheel drive to be in this. I'm looking up the Audi RS3 LMS TCR is front-wheel drive, but they've had to do a significant amount of changes in order to make it fit. It's kind of... It's similar to one DTM car, and some of those were rear-wheel drive, so... There's probably a few places in which that's crossed over. Now, for the record, we've had 6 drivers try and set laps. And your eyes aren't fooling you. We've had 2 successfully set laps that haven't gone off the track. So, the off-track ring strikes again. JB2J and Nathan Lee are the only 2 to have made it so far. I promise there are more people here today. I think if we had only 2 people, I would pack up and go home and maybe not commentate the full 40-minute duel. But it's just more that like these drivers are... try to have the best time they can, and are falling a little bit foul, especially near the end of the track. Quite a few places here where the asphalt runoff, where all 4 wheels off, will get you. I know they've been adding some grass runoff to the outside in F1, but that's going to need a bit of a rescan for iRacing, so instead you have to deal with the stay on or die sort of technique.
I think these guys are pushing these cars, just trying to get every second. It's kind of like when you drive a Formula V, if you don't use every inch of the track, because they have to stay wound up so much that, just kills your lap time. And I think that's exactly the way these cars are going to drive here today. As you can see, Nathan Lee used every inch of the track right there.
So... for reference on lap times we've seen, if I can just maybe get the fastest lap for the 3 drivers on the road. We have a 141, 141, and 143. We do have other laps that have been attempted. Tanner Gruber got a 144.6. Rickson Zhao got a 144.47. Bryce Allen couldn't get one wound up. It's been a 151. And I've not seen Evan Adams hit the road at all. But those 3 laps won't show because no one's been setting any clean ones. You get an extra lap of qualifying in this series, of course, as Nathan Lee comes to cross the line. I don't know if it will count just because of... I
thought I saw him... Yeah, I thought I saw him get an off track there, but maybe not.
I think if we try and litigate what's off track without us getting the real detail, we're going to be here all day. Qualifying comes to an end. There looks like we'll be seeing 6 hit the grid. Oh, Bryce Allen gets a lap. Oh, we got him. We got 4. Don't worry, I would be in the 1 minute 50s. So good. Although I had a rocking week at Tsukuba, but I had a race completely ruined by the fact that the Audi doesn't have a clutch and I jumped the start. Taking a look at the starting grid, JB2J lines up on pole with Nathan Lee in P2, Bryce Allen in P3, new driver Patrick Rich in P4, Evan Adams and Tanner Gruber alongside one more. Rickson Zhao in that order will hit the grid once they're ready. As we get our gridding ready now. I mean, What else can we say about Patrick Rich's car? That is Adam Adams. He just decided not to qualify. I mean, like, I think that's safe for work. Okay, I think that's appropriate. Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. Indeed. You can't say it's not different. You can't say it's not different.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That is something my son would drive. He is famous for the birds aren't real liveries.
Those are the best iRacing liveries. I run the birds aren't real all over my GR86 because the truth has to be known to the public.
Yeah, they recharge on power lines. That's
I mean, like, you know that the government killed all those birds, and you know that if it flies, it spies. One of my favorite theories.
My son loves those livery cars like that. I mean, those meme cars like that. Yeah. He would probably love that Audi right there. That's great.
I find an excuse to stick an anime character on the side. I'm sorry, I'm not immune. I'm not built different. It's just I have to be completely open and say that's exactly how I live my life. If Hatsune Miku makes it onto a car, I want that car, okay? Unfortunately, the Audi is the only one with a good Miku car, and I don't actually like driving the Audi. I find it quite frustrating, so, yeah.
Yeah, I own the Audi, and it's not for me. In fact, I chose not to run this series just because I didn't like the way the Audi drove. I thought all the cars drove like that.
The Audi's very
But I bought that Honda Civic when we were going to do the race last week, and there we go.
Yeah, we're green on the road, and I see Tanner Gruber making a fantastic launch here through the middle of the pack. He's going to be up to P2 by the first corner. Not going to be able to clear JB to J. What a launch, though. The rest are left behind. It's usually the Aldis that get those launches. Nathan Lee sits back in P3, and Patrick Rich, the all-new, in P4 behind the rest. JB to J getting a great launch, but I also do see a black flag on JB to J from my side. We got new ATVO provides the ability now for us to see black flags as a brand new update. And I wonder if he jumped the start, because we'll have to see when he jumps into the pit stop. And if he does, Tanner Gruber is going to inherit this P1. It could be wrong as well. We'll give him a lap or two to work out what happened, but that would be a bit of a shocking start to affairs. Nathan Lee under pressure from Patrick Rich behind. And is he going to try going side by side with Tanner Gruber? That Honda Civic does struggle on the long straights of this track. Lots of space between the two, but Nathan Lee's going to take it around the outside, and Patrick might look to try and make this one free wide. As we're on board here with Patrick Rich inside the car, getting up onto the inside, and Nathan... That's Tanner Gruber up ahead, actually. That's the angle I would love to see. There's the car rider even further behind. That's Nathan Lee and Evan Adams colliding behind, and there's huge contact. Patrick's been sent off the track. He will be able to recover, but he's lost positions on the road straight there. Tanner's held on to this P2. This has just been absolutely dramatic as JB gets away, and I hear the pit lane siren that... Someone's making it into pit lane, but I see JB still out in first. Nathan Lee getting the jump over Tanner Gruber. He's completely lost it there. Going into turn one, that great first lap. All that progress might have been lost down the line. That was a crazy, crazy first lap. Lots of shaking and moving. I'm sure we'll get back to all of it when we have the time. Who said the TCRs couldn't be entertaining here? Me. I mean... That. Sorry.
I mean, that right there was as good a first lap as you could ask for. Wow.
Curious about seeing the data on JB to J's black flag. Yeah. I'm going to...
Can we go back to that? Can we go back to a replay of the start?
We will check that out soon, but it looks like Bryce Allen's going to try and make it up the inside of Nathan Lee up first. These are common rivals. We always see these three coming together in their Hyundais. You get to see them from an absolute mile away. Nathan has the advantage for now, but that's Bryce with the inside line looking to try and open up. He doesn't get alongside. He's going to keep chasing for some time, as that is Nathan Lee going horribly wide and giving up the position. Is Tanner within range to strike? He could in fact be. down behind. He has such that speed advantage just due to the gravel being taken. He's going to try and make a move going into the end of this lap. He makes it cleanly. Nathan's got a lot to make up. He is just, I think that he's on the track though, with a wheel on there. Just about gets out the advantage. And now Rickshan Zhao behind. We've not mentioned him at all from that start. It wasn't really a common element, but now he's all over the rear bumper himself. And Tanner Gruber might be looking to lose out on some more places. Try and outbreak into turn 1. Tanner definitely keeps the advantage out there. Rickshan left behind. Now we might be able to go back in time. This has been a crazy few laps though. Wow.
Yeah, I think Tanner lost his momentum when he tried to pass Nathan. He tried to outbrake him, and he lost his momentum, and then Nathan stayed out there, and now Tanner's going to take a lap or two to get that back and try to get back up to his bumper.
I'm going to believe that I've been lied to by the overlay about JB2J's black flags. It's been about 3 laps and we've not seen him materialize out of existence yet. Yeah. And with that, we might be able to take a little look at some of this crazy battling over here. Oh, there's so much going on behind. We see the 2 contenders behind colliding, and now Patrick Rich turning in quite hard there.
Yeah, that was on Patrick there. I mean, he just turned down all over Nathan.
Yeah, not too much to really do there. It's tricky just not knowing the line the other driver's really going to take. I have a lot of sympathy for both in a situation like this, but it looks like he overcooked it just a little bit. And then from that point onwards, there was still battling as Tanner Gruber was facing down the rest. That looks like it was a black flag pit stop from another driver down behind. See if I can get another angle on the next sort of moves that kicked off.
Something just happened. Bryce Allen is in the lead now.
I think JB2J did take the pit stop. I can confirm you that. There was a black flag. He must have jumped the start, and he has run through the pits and come out near the back of it. 2 black flags out on the start of the race. Can you believe it? Well, I sure can, because we're here experiencing it. Whew, what a crazy start. What an electric start. As I see JB2J is still showing the black flag on my screen, but that must have been cleared. It must have been cleared because he did make a pit stop on my track. We didn't quite see it, but I promise you we got that data. And now he's carving his way back up through the field past Tanner Gruber. One of the fastest cars in this league. One of the fastest drivers. He's going to think he can make up these positions.
Well, he didn't really suffer horribly for having to make a drive-through, to still come out. He popped out in 3rd, but then he got passed, and then he made that pass back up. So, if that would have been me, I guarantee I'd be in 7th right now.
All I'm going to say is either this overlay is busted, or the funniest thing in the world has just happened. I'll give it a few laps and I'll report back based on what the funniest thing in the world has happened. JB2J spat in the pit lane and he has to do it again. Oh no, this is tragedy. This is he finds a way to bring us these last to first challenges every time around. I saw the black flag lingering on him and I thought there's no way he didn't clear the black flag. That's a stop and go. That's a stop and go.
No, this is going to be like a 40-second hold.
Yeah, he's going to be sent behind for a while. Praise be to the overlay lords for introducing the black flag this week. I didn't think we would need it. Imagine the confusion from that race start without it. I mean, but that's brilliant. Evan Adams in this race, hopefully making it to the end, as I've said before, although commentators curse. Trust me, I'm the one with the commentators curse. I've had commentators tell me there's no curse, only for my curse to happen within like 30 seconds. It's absolutely guaranteed. As Evan Adams all over the rear of Rickshan Zhao here, trying to make up some places, trying to make up a good pass. Looking left, looking right, not quite making it right now, but this is going to be the next chase worth checking out. He does make the sweep up onto the inside, and I think actually he will get the better exit. Lots of lines drivers are taken around this track. It's a very, very, very wide one, of course, and these cars are making use of all of it in some super unique ways.
Well, that's a prime example right there. That Audi in the power, he built up some momentum there and just came right on by.
Is this a useful, or do I need to go a little bit further back to catch the overtake, or a little bit further back still? We'll keep going back until morale improves. Here's Evan Adams' move on. This was Rickshan Zhao. Looks outside, and Rickshan overcooks the entry, and it just grants that opportunity back now. Well, lots going on, lots of shaking and moving. Here's Patrick Rich, not deterred from this little incident. We've seen a lot of on-track incidents in this league turn into crashes, but these walls are very forgiving around here, and those penguins of Madagascar want to make it back up to the front.
He needs some Bluefoot boobies on there. That's a bird.
There's a million. I almost got very scared. And you're trying to set me up. I like being set up like that.
I'm not talking about a weird medical condition here. It's the blue-footed booby. It's a bird. Look it up.
If we can get in contact with Patrick after this race, I might have to ask him to stick that one on if he plans on returning. If we see the tyre marks on the outside on that gravel from previous misjudged attempts, but he is back up to P3. I've heard some TCR drivers complaining that the Honda is not particularly well suited to this track here. It really is that slow speed corners car, and it might just keep dropping back over the course of this race. Tanner's going to have to try and make the best of circumstances, but there's a lot of stringing out on this field already. Nathan's got quite a gap to make up on Bryce, and Patrick's got an even bigger gap to make up on the rest of the world. Aiden C in the chat saying, wasn't able to race this week due to recovering from food poisoning. I absolutely wish the best to you too, man. I've never had to deal with it, but it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty.
Yeah, I feel for you, man.
Racing might have to come over first over the poisoning.
Food poisoning is tough. No, I mean, that's, man alive. I had a bout of it one time. It lasted about 3 days. It was rough.
Oh, I can't believe there's a few things that have never happened to me. I've only been sunburned in a super minor way once, and I don't think I've ever been food poisoned. But I've had plenty of other...
You just jinxed yourself. Talk about the commentator's curse.
Plenty of other things have happened to me, but it isn't, unfortunately, at my life story hour. So maybe you'll find out bits of lore down the line if you subscribe and keep watching all the future races on the channel. You might get these bits drip-fed one by one. Tanner Kruber all over the rear of Adam Adams. He hasn't lost too much time. Both are really going to be trying to hot lap each other, and as we just look back at JB DJ, he's 27 seconds back. He is a very fast driver. I hope he doesn't park it. This is definitely a very sad way right now to have your pole position go. I'm pretty sure that must have been, if you think about the order, we don't get the details of the black flags, but if you think about it, it must have been the order of jump start is about the only one you can get that early. And then there must have been a pit lane infringement for him to have immediately been sent back in again. I mean, tragedy. It's tragedy all around. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it's, for a second I thought that when the black flag stayed up, I thought maybe that it didn't recognize his drive-through. And, which I've seen that happen before. So I wasn't sure if that's maybe what it was. And, but yeah, more than likely he sped getting into the pits or something.
It's funny that he said on the league chat that I would just die sooner than usual if it's wet, because the weather's random and we don't even know it before we go into each race. And well, he didn't die, but maybe racing around in purgatory is a fate worse than car death. I don't know. It's actually there's points on the line. Speaking of points,
at a big track like this, it is kind of purgatory. This is a place if you're all out there alone.
Look what I just worked out. I just worked out how to get points. Listen, TCR SOF Plus gets all of the Aeon Esports advancements. There's a lot of bonus points that come out in this league, and a lot of penalty points, and you can't quite calculate it perfectly each race until you see the end of it. But right now, Bryce Allen looking to extend a nice lead, with Nathan Lee possibly being able to jump JB2J if he has the Nightmare Day. Michelle Welker, which I've been informed is with the W, not quite making onto the grid today. Our league admin races when he feels like it. That's what it's all about. I've seen tracks with more enthusiasm, I'll be honest, but the racing has actually been pretty decent. Now, I had a chat with my co-commentator last time around. We were in the Clio Cup about the next season, and obviously I have an absolute favourite piece of content coming out this season. But we should talk about what's relevant to TCR first, of course. And this time I have the name down properly, and I'm not relying on co-commentator recall. The Thruxton circuit is absolutely a TCR golden track. I'd love to get it on the schedule for week 1 next season. Have you seen Thruxton?
I have not.
Go look up a track map. All right, it is the high-speed British TCR track, and you look at one track map of that, and you'll go, "Whoa, I want to see that." It's dropping in the next season update. It's going to be. We may not get our Cupra TCR quite yet one day, but we will be getting a super exciting British classic. It's the fastest British track, but it's by no means straight lines. If you've not seen it before, I can't quite get a map up this instant. I don't have a backup team on the show for that, but look up the Thruxton circuit and tell me that layout isn't going to be a horsepower fiesta. I know that Clio Cup are looking to get it in week 1, and TCR are going to look to get it as soon as possible. Maybe they can get it in their own week 1. It will be an absolute treat.
Well, I'm looking, and
can you get it?
No.
Is it loading? We can do this.
No, well, the only thing I saw about it was I watched somebody's YouTube thing on all the new content because I'm from Louisiana in the United States, and I struggle to read. So instead of reading, I just let somebody else explain it to me. But I watched some content on it, and he showed a picture of it, but I did not really pay that close of attention, to be honest.
I've sent one your way to take a look at. It's absolutely just that. One look at that track layout inspires fear within me, quite frankly. Actually. Fear.
And how big a
horror.
circuit is that? Do you know how many miles that is?
Now you're making me put in more work. I can do this. It's another track that's set on
you brought it up.
Field. I know. It's 2.35 miles.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a fun little course then for them.
A absolute touring car classic, and I love when the TCR series get in some of these British touring car classics. It's gonna be a thrill ride. Obviously, I'm all over the Ferrari hypercar, but you know,
me too.
I'm going to turn us into a Ferrari works team for all of our events. But I think the more I ramble about Ferrari hypercars, the more I start to lose the TCR front wheel drive merchants. To be honest, I feel like at that point, we're starting to lose their attention. Hey, maybe we'll get the Cupra next season. I say that every single season. Maybe one year we'll get the Cupra. See if I can get some interesting data about what's going on right now as we approach the halfway mark, and we're looking to potentially get some pit stops done soon. I mean, not JB2J's first trip into the pit stop today, but unfortunately, he's going to have to make another. Fastest lap so far.
I wonder if since he had to stop, if he pitted, could he have made it from there and not had to stop again?
So you're limited on fuel, and he had to do it within the first 5 laps. I don't think so. I think that would be a real stretch. Not impossible, but definitely real stretch. Evan Adams had to make a pit stop trip, by the way. So
that would be that'd be an interesting gamble being that you're stuck at the back anyway, is to try to stretch it out there, just to see if you could, if nothing else, when you come back in, all you have to do is just get a splash of fuel.
Of course, the controversy around this week's scheduling with the weather is that the IMPC Pilot Challenge is going to be in the wet, which, I mean, I love the TCR cars in the wet, and they're an absolute treat every time it rains. But the Open and Fix series are perfectly in the dry, so you basically don't get to practice until the big day. Do you trust yourself at 2 hours multi-class in the wet without getting DQ'd out of that race? I'm tempted to try.
I have to say, man, he almost ran off track there. I have to say that you turned me on to these cars in the rain last week. I was not aware of how much fun these cars were to drive in the wet, and I may do that race in the wet just because it's not really one of the races I typically do on my weekly schedule, but I may throw that in there just to do it.
Well, the thing about these cars in the rain is that they are unbelievably drivable. That's the word I would use. They are very, very, very easy to sort of get around the track, but very, very hard to be fast at. Stuff has just happened the moment I looked at Bryce Allen. What can I say? Here's Patrick Rich. Oh, I was promised a pass. It looks like it is actually these pit stop cycles that are coming around. Let's put Patrick Rich up into P2. But with pit stops do, if I can just get the pit count just for a second for these drivers, then we'll be able to see that it's going to be about the
So Nathan Lee pitted, is that what I'm seeing?
Have I worked this one out properly, or am I starting to get lost as well? Evan Adams pit stopped. No, he didn't.
Okay.
No, Nathan Lee pit stopped.
Yeah.
So he's been pushed back. That puts Patrick Rich up into the P2 position right now. But these drivers are going to start filtering in now bit by bit by bit. So we're going to see some moving up and down the field until this really settles down, I think. It's going to give some drivers some opportunities to come a little bit closer, though, as this is... as we take a look at Nathan Lee right on the back of Evan Adams. Evan has to pit soon, but the easiest thing to do right now would be to get this pass done right now. Edmund isn't going for it here. We can see drivers like that last corner is absolutely brutal, but he goes for the pass. It's a bold one. Looks like a bit of a lunge, but Nathan Lee is saying, yep, I will take that position. Thank you. He's got places to be and positions to make up in front of these drivers if he's going to go for this early stop strategy.
I tell you what, his he didn't look like a lunge there. That car stuck, man. He drove it in there, just it stuck, and that was a heck of a pass right there.
I love that. That was very clean, but very, very effective. Just want to see him make this move, and get it done.
This car doesn't even twitch, man. It just stuck.
About confidence around there. Don't ruin this trees. Don't take this away from me. I love the trees around there, but there's confidence in a move like that. There is pure confidence. I love to see it.
Evan did run a little wide there, but nevertheless, man, Nathan just turned that car down on the apex and drove it in there, and it stuck and come right off that corner. That was nice.
Do indeed love to see it. Now, what's interesting is that I wonder if I can get the numbers for this one, but this software basically as an iRacing spectator, you don't actually get information about people's incident points until the end, but you can get the software to try and estimate whether or not somebody went off the track, and it's often like it gets a count that isn't quite right, but you can sort of use it as a guiding figure. And let me just tell you, I am seeing off-track count after off-track count after off-track count right now. Like, I'm just seeing X driver gone off the track, X driver gone off the track, X driver gone off the track over and over and over again. Nathan, we'll get a little bit of a hall of shame very soon for some of these drivers going off the track because none of you are immune. Nathan Lee looking to try and make the move for P3 here. He was the first to stop. These drivers are still due to stop ahead, but there's still no reason to stick behind. He's fast, he's feisty out there. He's already gotten one done on Evan Adams, and now he's going to look for a chance to make this dive into a coming corner. He might have the straight line speed in down this one here, but he's going to be forced to make the move around the outside if he makes it at all. Quite a lot of space being given. That's going to give Tanner Gruber the advantage for now, but that is a very big for now. Nathan Lee not at all done. He now has that inside line, and now he's going to seize it. He's got a road to be up.
That was a textbook pass right there. He took the line that he could carry the most speed, and then he knew he had that inside line coming up to the next turn. I mean, that was perfectly executed again. Beautiful stuff.
Love seeing a master of his craft do this. And I actually ended up in a race recently with someone from this league, as that's Tanner Gruber trying to make it into the pit lane. I hope he didn't get a black flag for that one, thankfully. Isn't it nice? Wouldn't you have loved to have accurate data last week on black flags? That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Wouldn't you have loved to have it?
Yes.
Well, we have it now.
It was fun to speculate a little bit there, and it got exciting, you know. But as it turns out, they both did it anyway, so it didn't matter, the two leaders. I really hate that Aiden's not here tonight. You know, it's unfortunate that he's got the food poisoning, but, you know, he was really fast last week. It would have been fun to see him tonight.
Well, some of the regulars, you've seen them come back every time they can. Hopefully it isn't an endless illness, Tanner. You would hope it isn't an endless illness. You'd hope it kicks off very, very soon. Nathan Lee now in that P3 position. Patrick Rich is very, very far ahead, so this isn't a pass that's going to be done in time, but Patrick and Bryce are the only two to have not stopped yet. And Rick Shin Zhao in the back. I hate to exclude old Rick Shin, but right now he might not quite be in contention on the pace. I see Patrick Rich has just had an incident.
That right there was extremely unfortunate.
What did he just do?
He just lost it.
But
just got out there.
I see a black flag appeared on him. I think he just got an iRacing drive-through. And he's parked the car and he's given up. Yes, he went off the track there. A black flag showed up, and now he's stepped into the pits. And I think he has just left it out entirely. Well, they don't call it the off-track ring for nothing. I call it the off-track ring, and we're finding out why. It's hard. It's a real hard one. Evan Adams now making his pit stop.
I want to clarify, since I'm not, extremely familiar with this series. So because this is an official race, is it correct?
Nah, this is a hosted. It's a 17x drive-through and a 20x DQ.
Okay. You don't think he got DQ'd, huh?
It's actually very possible. He could have, because because he did tow to the pits. The car would have disappeared in an instant, and he towed it to the pits. But maybe that's just a frustration of the off-track ring finally starting to drag you down, kicking and screaming.
Well, that's unfortunate, because he was fast, and that's unfortunate. But
these are hosted sessions, so anybody could show up. They don't need to pre-sign up to the league, and I think that's what we've been seeing, as some people just sort of dropping into these sessions. And
well, I hope he comes back. He was fast, and we could talk about his car a lot.
I'd love to talk about that car. And he was fast and he was competitive, so I'd like to see the name come back. It's one that hasn't run before here. Looks like Bryce Allen, if there's no horrific mistake, could have what it takes to secure this win. Nobody's seen him since the start, as I notice The black flag has shown up on Rickshin Zhao. Did somebody just get their pit lane entry wrong and has been forced out again? I think so. How is the pit lane getting so many people today?
Well, that's something that's a great time to talk about. And we talked about some different things last week. People don't practice pit lane entry at race speed enough. When you get out there and they do their practice, or whatever, and they'll pull over and they'll just, tow back to the pits instantly, and they don't practice those pit entries, and then it turns around and bites you in the race because you didn't practice it. And that's a good lesson for a lot of people. Just like starts. A lot of people don't practice standing starts as much as they should. And then, it surprises them, and that's something guys need to practice. It's no different than driving around this race course, getting into that pit lane, especially if they're tricky or kind of windy or whatever. You need to practice that.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess people think it must be easy because the cars have a pit lane speed limiter. I'm actually curious as to whether there's a commit line here that's really tricking people, because I know there is a ultra strict one around here. So if we look on the suspension, I think, no, that's not super strict. We just sort of saw it cross over. It's not super strict. So maybe people are messing up their entries, or people could be messing up.
A lot of times,
who knows?
A lot of times they don't get slowed down enough. They just come in a little hot, and they just, they cross that line, and you're 3 miles an hour over, and that's enough.
This is JB2J. We thought he was out of it. He thought he was out of it. Now he's on the rear bumper of Tanner Gruber, looking to try and get that P3 position back. Why not? I think he might have the pace to do it here as well. Going down this very one of many long straights. He has the outside line, but could carry some momentum. Cut off here by Tanner Gruber. He's going to keep the advantage for now. Exit speed here is going to matter. Very easy to one ride. Almost a little bit of intimidation. There wasn't contact there, but Tanner got spooked. It's a drag race down the start finish, but that inside line, I think it's always the advantage as JB2J. If he gets the outbreak, he'll be able to make this one quite clear. Being given a lot of space there by Tanner Gruber. A real recovery from a bit of a nightmare of a day.
Well, I tell you what, he certainly had a rough situation there in the first 5 or 6 laps of this race, but and he won't be happy. But he's had a nice run here to get himself back into third place, and unfortunately, it's going to take something bad happening to the 2 guys in front of him for him to make up that kind of gap. But that's a nice run. I mean, he's passed some good cars, some good drivers, and I don't know. Wonder if he's turned in a really seriously fast lap. Oh, he has. He's actually got the fastest lap of the race. So.
Right, that was the absolute fastest. It was set by JB2J, the 1:41.023. Well, I think he is the most consistently fast driver on this grid, but there's always a little bit of drama that happens in this series that really picks up, and this would. JB2J is still short of that championship position with Nathan Lee, and that's a driver he's very competitive with, but it would only be by 1 point, and obviously there's a lot of bonuses and penalties. You'll get a penalty for doing that, JB2J, too many times. So I'm going to, honestly, shudder looking. I'm going to ring up all these drivers in the interviews at the end of the race, which we will actually be able to fit in this time. Apologies for cutting it short on last week's. There were just some big technical hiccups behind the scenes that made that very, very difficult day on the track, and it's a shame because it was a fantastic race, but we should be able to catch up with all the drivers at the end of this event, and I will be ringing them up on all of their penalties. They will be held responsible for their follies. You know it.
It's I was kind of like you when we talked about these cars on this track, but I have to say, I mean, they've spread out a little bit now with the smaller field, but these cars are fun. It's actually fun watching them go around here. it's not what I anticipated it was going to be. Just because of how far they've got to hang them out on the edge to keep the to keep the speed and maintain their speed around here. They're running right on the ragged edge, and it's anytime you're running like that, there's going to be stuff happening and it's entertaining. I'm really bummed that Patrick Rich dropped out of the race, and I'm sure he's probably going to watch this back. So I want you, Patrick, if you see this, I want you to come back next week and get back in here, man. We were having a lot of fun with you. You were a fast driver, and your car was great. Bring back some more memes. Come back.
And the rest of this championship season, I think this is the last unpopular track that people aren't going to like in this SOF Plus season, as we head on week 11 to a TCR exclusive week to Rudskogen Motor Centre. I love that place. It's controversial.
Oh, man.
It's controversial, but I adore that track. It is special. Are you a hater? Is that hating sounds?
No, it's not a hating, man. I'm not good there. That big downhill sweeper in like a V or a Formula Ford kills me.
You want to see these cars understeer through it? Oh, you're going to understeer through these and you're going to like it. Then the final in the Michelin Pilot Challenge week at Circuit Zolder. I don't usually love driving at Zolder, but I think it will suit these cars really well. It's very, very tight. Lots of room to jockey and some tricky chicanes.
Yes.
Then the iRacing season finishes their 13th week and a bit. You can talk about Zolder first, of course. I'll give you that. You have anything to say about Zolder?
No. I agree with you. I think that I'm not a huge fan of Zolder myself either, but I do think it will suit these cars fantastic. Yeah, there should be some good racing there.
Rick Zhao just got hit by a drive-through, by the way, for this one. This was the final straw. It's a spin and loss of control in this setting sun. I mean, add another one to write up. Add another one to write up against the wall. I don't blame anyone that's taken these drive-throughs, but hey, he's not the only one. And then week 13, TCR SOF Plus uses a unique rule where a season champion is allowed to substitute a track. iRacing is going to Spa, probably in order to wring out as much participation as possible, whereas the SOF Plus League goes to Circuit de Navarra, which I very much believe it's another track that I struggle with, but I think these cars will be absolutely magical at.
Yeah, see, and that's the opposite from that track. I'm pretty quick at, and I like that track. It'll be interesting to see what version they use. If they use the longer version, I can't. Maybe it's called the Speed Circuit, or something. The version that's got several 90+ degree turns, which would be fun in these little cars. If they use the short one, it's just going to be they're just going to keep them just wound up to the there's no sharp turns. It's almost I think you only brake at one point on that short track with these.
I believe it is the Speed Circuit. The Speed Circuit has been nominated. I'm just gonna name and shame. Sorry, Tanner Gruber, it had to be you, but I think I saw the words off track appear, and quite frankly, we're going to be here in Incident City. We're going to be here in Incident City for weeks. I want to capture every last one of you. What did it see this time? Over the line on the inside, not one I'm used to. I don't mean to shame any one person in particular. I just would like to catch on how many incidents are going to stack up. And we could actually get another drive-through in the last 3 minutes as we approach about 2 to 3 laps to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's they're like I said, they're driving them hard out there, and what's like you said, interesting about this series is the fact that these incident points really do hurt you. There's penalty points for this. If you're up there in the top and take a little hit in your penalty, with penalty points, that could sure mess you up for the championships.
Yes, there's also quite a few bonuses that can be made up. A significant number of bonuses. See if I can get the full list. maybe I can't quite get the full list runner. I had the full list like earlier today. Yes, you get points for pole, points for fastest lap, points for leading a lap, points for 0x. None of those today. That's not happening. And points for the biggest mover up the grid. And I believe there will be drop weeks as well. I've been told that you get about 5 drop weeks in total. Those haven't really been calculated. I might be able to calculate those in for next week now that I've worked out how to get the championships working. Feels great.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about is, you've got your new channel here and broadcasting. Do you have any events coming up soon that you'd like to talk about that you're going to be broadcasting or anything like that?
Ain't that funny you should ask? Ain't that funny you should ask? You've always got my back here. You've always got my back. This is the last week before the beginning of our fantastic mini-stock league on the topic of unusual combinations. I cannot wait to bring some of this to you. We've got some fantastic drivers, and there's still space to sign up with cash prizes and for broadcasting on the channel, including a special dirt round, plenty of free tracks, but some fantastic little surprises in there too. These cars are crazy on the road circuits. They are slippery, they are slidey, they are tricky. They're a challenge unlike anything else, and you can go to www.aeonesports.com and you'll be sent straight to the sign-up form. You obviously join in the middle of the championship, but don't you want to be there on the ground floor for what a fantastic show that's going to be? And we also have... sorry.
Don't you have one? I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to clarify. Don't you got a dirt race? Is that that's not a dirt oval race? That's
that's a rallycross track.
Yeah. Talk about fun, a mini stock on a rallycross track. That is going to be insane. And I think...
Apparently it does work. Apparently it works.
Oh, no, it does. Oh, no, that's the fun thing about iRacing. You can take the little Legends cars out there and run them on those rallycross tracks or whatever, like some of those Week 13 special kind of deals. And I love what you're doing here, man. These little mini stocks... they're a new car. They just came in this season, on iRacing, and they're fantastic. And so we're on the final lap here, though, I just saw. So we probably ought to focus on what's going on here.
Also,
but I'm glad you mentioned that.
Stay subscribed because we have some races for the Skip Barber series and for the Mission R series coming in this week as well. We have some of the top split races from a variety of championships. It's all there in the live tab. It's all there for you to watch. And we just got out of Clio Cup early this week, which was a lot of fun. More front-wheel drive action. Those things are crazy. Bryce Allen, indeed, has run a fantastic race to get here. And he is going to cross the line P1. He's going to like it as the championship points start to matter. He's had a pretty clean, uneventful one. And he's going to cross the line as a winner in front of his perpetual rival, Nathan Lee, who picks up a nice P2 on the road. And JB with a great first to last to third run. It slowed down a bit by the end, but there's been a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah, that was sorry, I have to get something to drink there. Yeah, that was a great run from JB. He certainly made it entertaining coming back up through there. I can't wait to see him not have problems because he's consistently extremely fast. Again today, turned the fastest lap in the race. I want to see him get out there and not have some trouble and see what he can do because he's so fast.
Maybe some of the jeopardy really does improve things. Here's this car crossing the line, getting some nice waves for a performance that I thought he was out of it a very, very long time ago. Tanner Gruber picking up one of his stronger performances in a while. Sometimes he's gone a little bit anonymous, but I love seeing that Civic run around the track, and it was an exciting start and held on to decently well for the P4. With Evan Adams, I don't want to say something. I don't want to say something I might regret, but it's all in good fun. Evan Adams does cross the line in P5, and quite a few drivers failed to do it, so He should count himself in. A lot of people, I think, are going to be eating some penalties for that one. That's our top 5 drivers, all making it across the line. And we're going to talk to some of them, hopefully, very, very soon as they start to roll themselves into the pit lane and we can bring up our full screen results. I'd love to talk to some of these drivers about what happened because it sure was a fun one. Bryce Allen claiming the win today by a solid gap in a race full of drama and full of drama and stories. And I can pull up some of it. These are prospective championship standings right now, as there are bonus and penalty points to apply across the board. Bryce Allen still holding out a championship advantage. I'm going to be able to talk to these drivers in just a second, as I just call them in. Oh, my keyboard makes some lovely noises there. You don't usually get to hear that one on the big screen. Consider it a nice surprise.
You know, with all the sponsorship money that you're making doing all these great broadcasts, you might want to invest in a silent keyboard.
I had a louder keyboard. And I had a louder keyboard, and I made it quieter when I started doing game streaming. And I might need to go even quieter. Like, that's a disappointment because I love this thing. I love this thing to be. I do like programming.
Just for the record, I'm not sure that I can type. I'm pretty quiet at it because I use one finger, so it doesn't make a lot of noise.
I mean, I often let noise suppression just sort of like do the job. Okay, drivers are making their way into this channel right now. I'm just going to pick on them as I see them. Hello, Bryce Allen. If we can just get you. Hello. Bit of a crazy race, but you just about ran away in P1.
Yeah, it's always nice to kind of have a chill race, but was sad that we didn't have more battles.
Yeah, a lot of guys that it just seemed like they were struggling with off tracks and unfortunately jump to start penalties and some pit road violations just kind of strung everybody out a little bit.
Yeah, and if I didn't have like as comfortable of a lead, I definitely would have gone over 10 off tracks. I almost got there, and I really didn't have a reason to be off tracking.
What do you think? What were your off tracks? How many did you end up with?
8.
Oh, yeah, you were
so
close.
A little close, and I really didn't even have anyone next to me, so no excuse really.
Yeah, you had a great run, man. It was, this track is, people don't. I think a lot of people may have thought this was going to be a boring track or whatever, but this track kind of sucks you off track, doesn't it? When you
absolutely.
Downhill turns and it just kind of slips away from you with the camera just rolls away from you, and it's hard to keep these cars on track here.
Yeah, I practiced it enough, and every once in a while I think my inputs are good and I just slide all the way off.
I just on this replay caught the incident. We'll talk about it later. It wasn't yours, but okay. I just on that replay just saw it happen, and I'm like, oh, I understand now. Anything else you want to shout out at the end of this?
I'll just shout out everyone here: Nathan, JB, Tanner, Evan, Sonny, and Patrick. Thanks everyone who attended. It's always nice to have people in the race, and then thanks to you too, Howie and Jim.
Yeah, Sorry. You definitely ran away with it, man. So good job tonight.
Thanks.
All right. So a very sad tale in this interview channel has been that Rick Shinzao, first time around, he was sitting in the channel. I didn't work out who he was. He then came back for Tsukuba where we couldn't do interviews, and I basically made the promise that I'm going to absolutely make sure he gets spoken to, no matter what order, no matter what happened in the race, because he's been screwed out of the chance to talk enough times. Hello, Rick Shinzao. Bit of a tricky one. You're not the only one that got black flagged though.
It was fun. It was really hard, but it feels fun.
Yeah, there was a bit more drama than the end results would make you think, and I think you must have just, at the case of getting the 17X, just decided, oh, I can't do more of this today. But trust me, you weren't the only one to get into those double digits. It's hard around there.
Yeah, in the beginning I feel I can catch tenor at least, and then it just got messier and messier, and it doesn't look good in the end.
Yeah, this track will fool you. It's big and it's wide, and a lot of runoff areas, and it looks like it's not too tough, but what happened to you today is a prime example that it is tough. It's it'll get away from you quick here, even in these cars.
Yeah, and I almost murdered Patrick. I don't know where he is, but yeah, that was pretty scary for me.
I think Patrick, I don't think he's raced in this league before. He must have spotted it on the hosted, but he was fast, but certainly involved in a bit of drama. That's him getting sent off the track right there. So again, not the only one that's had any of these experiences today. I'll put it like that. Anyone you want to shout out? I've led you 3 races to possibly shout out and not giving you the chance to shout out, so you deserve all the double shout outs, really.
Oh, I don't know. I want to thank you for Bryce and Nathan helping me, supporting me for all the races. And one day I'll catch them up.
It's a very, very wide field out there, and I'd be about as good as you. No, you'd be better than me. You'd be better than me.
Yeah, I may come join one of these races one night just to show you that there's guys a whole lot slower out there, like me.
It's about the process, right? It's about learning, and I got easily frustrated by how many mistakes I can make, and but yeah, Bryce and Nathan helping me overcome those parts, and that's why I keep coming back.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we love to have you. So thanks, and I guess we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Howie, for hosting. It's been awesome.
It's always fun to bring these. Okay, so JB to J, I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to see this with your own eyes. Okay, I'll let you speak in a second, but I saw it and I realised what's happened now. Okay, so you see that? Oh, wait for it. He's gonna go, and it's not quite gonna be right. That's not it, my man. It's a little bit after that. It's not as bad. As I said, I literally in a TCR fixed race in the last week forgot that the Audi didn't have a clutch and just started driving, so you're not...
Oh, there you go.
But
yeah.
what a back to front to back to front challenge. The second black flag, was that a pit lane infringement?
Oh yeah, I made a proper mess of that one. So I did the jump start. My wife was saying goodnight to me, and my brain can only do so many things. So instead of holding I use a handbrake on my starts. So instead of holding that, I held the gear shift in one, and then I started going.
No, you did a me there.
Oh, I was gonna go right in, but then I saw I was really starting to gap the field right away. So I thought, well, I'm gonna see how much space I can get. So I went in on my third lap. And when I went in, so I had to drive through for that. And so on my way in, I decided to do an unsafe pit entry. So after my drive through, I had to do a 55-second stop and hold for that whole mess.
Let's see if we can spot the error on pit entry here from the chopper cam.
You probably can.
Let's see, we didn't get to see it in time, and in fact, iRacing is going to do its absolute best to make sure that we just could not see that.
Well, you missed. No, it was back there. It was at the very entry.
So let's try that one again.
I almost spun up. Yeah.
Imagine that you can set up a drone camera to do this in the real world. Okay, it's not quite that realistic, but
where are we? No, that was that must have been a different pit. My lap 3 it would be, or my lap 2.
Yes, a lap. That's how you make the pit entry, for reference. And then this is how you... Whoa! Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, no other way
Had I not done that,
well,
had I not done that, I would have been DQ'd. So
yes, right. You had no choice but to go ahead and commit to it anyway.
So if that was the first or second lap, I would have kept on going and hit it the next time around, but... So
well, and that right there, that's a lesson for a lot of people that sometimes it's maybe not best to wait till that third lap because, like you said, you could have bailed there if that was your second,
Right,
and
right.
and
Yeah.
and not cost yourself. I mean, you were okay with the drive-through. You would have recovered from that, because
I would have.
mean, look,
I would have.
you'd have been right there fighting for the lead because you had a 55-second hold. Not to mention the time you lost getting in and off pit road on that, and you still ended up only about 45 seconds or so behind the leader. So if that doesn't happen to you, you're the drive-through for the start, you're still in contention. You're still fighting for the win here.
I would have been. I had good pace. I didn't have the pace in practice, and I moved my wing a click. Took another half off of it, and I had green deltas the whole time. I do 3 deltas, and they were all green through pretty much the whole race.
Well, it was an active track. It was great drive.
You had the fastest lap of the race. You were consistently turning fast laps coming back there. You just built yourself a gap you couldn't overcome, unfortunately.
Yeah, I threw some slowdowns in there too, just for good measure. So, though I was, I don't want to do well by others' demise, but I was watching to see if anybody was getting any drive-thrus in front of me, and it would not have made me cry. But I guess it was not to be. After the mess I made of it, and I still took third, took a podium, I have absolutely nothing to complain about.
No, absolutely, man. That was considering what happened to you there in the first 5 laps of the race. To finish third, that was a heck of a drive.
That was good fun. I do like, and it's so beautiful. Just looking at the scenery as you're driving. So they have the long straights, and I kind of look to the right and look to the left, because it's so pretty. And then, oops, better look in front because we got a turn coming up. So.
So,
any shout outs at the end of this? Sorry.
Well, to you guys, thank you. You guys do such a great job. I really appreciate the hard work you do and putting on the broadcast and all the other drivers and I know that there's been some talk from other guys wanting to join and would sure love to see them come aboard. And to Mitch for putting this all together.
Good stuff. Now, hey, I'm going to call on just 2 more drivers, I believe, are around here. I don't think I've missed someone this time. Someone can at me if I have. But Tanner Gruber, what a start. I loved that. Let's catch it in full HD, especially in a car where it did seem to struggle around here. Oh, it's almost like everybody else forgot how to launch. Look at him go.
I think one of the Honda's biggest strengths has to be the launching of it.
Yeah, that was a heck of a start you got there, man. Nice run, picked the middle. It stayed open for you, and you just plowed right on through there. We thought you were going to go all the way to the lead there for a second.
I would have certainly liked to.
Also, one of the only 2 drivers to not eat a point penalty today. The off-track ring claims many victims, but you did make it 9x. You made it exactly how you would like it to. Did you have fun out there?
It was too close for comfort with that 9x. I was taking it really easy on the last few laps. It's a fun track. I think I know what you mean by.
I think he turned into you, by the way.
I think he did. I know what you mean by some could perceive it as boring, but I think it always makes for good races. Enjoyed it.
I mean, I came in with the attitude that this was too big of a track for these cars, but I don't necessarily have that opinion now. I think that it produced some good racing. If we'd had a little bigger field, there would have been battles all over this track.
Yeah, I think there were some good moments and there were some tricky little flashpoints in this field. Do you have anything else to call or any shout outs on the road before we move on?
No. Shout out to my tennis coach, Austin. I think it's been helping me with my racing. So,
does he directly help you with the racing, or is it just mentality?
Yeah, I think there's some transferable skills
Very
back
fair.
and forth. It's been good.
Well, lots of fun to see you out there yet again. Keep on bringing it. Only a few more weeks left to go. Always good to see. As we finally pull in Nathan Lee, I don't think there's correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think your team have a embarrassing story to humiliate you with today. I think it was just a solid drive.
Yes, I think I had enough to embarrass myself with. Had definitely got a couple penalties, and I definitely did join the double-digit incident club. So woohoo on that one. But it was a very fun race. I had some good moments. I was kicking myself a little bit for understeering out of the lead in front of Bryce there. But at the end of the day, P2 can't be too upset with that. So
You two,
Well, you were lucky.
You two come together.
I'm sorry.
You two come together all the time. I'm gonna say, it's what you two are gonna kill each other out there on the track. Anyway, on to you, Jim.
No, I was to say you got lucky early on in the race there. You and Patrick Rich got together. You almost killed the penguin meme on the side of his car when you two got together there, and he spun off track on that, but you managed to, didn't seem to upset your car near as much, and that was a big moment for you because that we felt like he turned down on you. Obviously you had the inside line, and it could have taken you out of this race really early.
yeah, I was a lap early in the laps. I was trying to be a little cautious. I don't even think, at least on my side, I don't think I heard any contact. But it was pretty close. I had to make sure I didn't clip a bumper or anything.
You were a little bit behind this. This is why I say that you always come together with him. Okay, it's you. You weren't involved with the collision up ahead, but if I could just try and catch this drama as it happened, because it was just all over the place. I know,
Yeah.
you just never stop coming together with your rival here in the back. There's no harm, no foul, but there is certainly door banging between you two every time you come together.
Yeah, rubbing is racing, and I've driven with Bryce a long time, since I started sim racing in Assetto, and so we've raced each other a lot, and I know I can trust him. So, yeah, a little bit of door banging, it's racing. So, good on him, I'd say.
It's a part of the TCR experience.
It
I
is.
think it's what they're so good at. So I know I encountered you in a GT4 race not too long ago that all went terribly wrong. Maybe I'll spot you again one day, although my iRacing got a bit of bruising in the last couple weeks. Any other shout-outs you want to give up?
Yeah, well, I just want to shout out all the drivers for showing up. We wouldn't have a race without everybody coming. So, yeah, thanks to everyone for racing. Thanks to Bryce and Sonny for sticking out with me in the league, and you for hosting, Howie. And also, just want to shout out my wife, Paige, for watching. She's very supportive. And Big Poppy for the coaching advice.
We even got coaching in the TCRs. Maybe I need to go get some help for these things, because I love them, but the skill ain't there. Well, we appreciate every driver that comes down here. Just as much you, just as much as everybody else. And we appreciate everybody that comes and views the show as well.
Hey, Nathan, who'd you say your coach was again?
Oh, it's a friend, but I joke that he's my coach. Big Poppy, his name.
Oh, okay.
He was looking for a real coach.
He's a part of
Yeah. Yeah, if I could drive like that, the active reset. But I tell you what, that's a great feature in iRacing that not enough people use.
Yeah, it's been helpful.
Wow.
So yeah, good job tonight, man. You ran a nice race.
Yes, thank you both for hosting.
So another fun race out here on the road. Not too many to go, but I think it's nothing but brilliant tracks from here to the end. I look forward to seeing some of these drivers, plus possibly a few more hit the road. Remember, this is an completely open series. You don't even need to pre-register on a server. You can just hop in, the hosted sections are up at the same time, and you might be able to see yourself on the stream too. I've been Howie Burroughs, this has been Jim Cunningham, coming to you from Aeon Esports. Subscribe to check out some more sim racing action, and if not, we'll see you next week for some more fantastic racing.